Welcome back, everybody.
We're back.
Another week. A couple minutes early. We're going to get our shares out of the way.
Trying to get this share thing down. There we go.
Danny's trying to figure that all out. So,
okay.
Hopefully everything's going well this weekend. We're getting a little snow here in Michigan.
Okay, so copy link.
And I don't know why that's up on my page, but oh well.
Right?
Right? So let's see how that works out.
Okay. Ugh.
Have a good week this week, Dan?
Yeah. Did that work thing. Kind of gets in the way of everything else.
Yeah. Okay. And other than that?
Quiet.
Quiet week, huh?
It is February.
That it is. It is February. Trying to get through the doldrums of winter.
Right.
So hopefully everybody's doing well. We got another one here to go, and I'll be ready, Danny.
Yep. Just get in line.
Get in line. All right.
You got to entertain the crew.
You want me to entertain everybody, huh? All
Yep.
right. I'll do that.
I do this.
Anybody out there doing anything cool this weekend? Let us know. Anything you want us to talk about this weekend? Because actually, we're coming to this show kind of cold today. We don't.
Not that it's cold outside.
Right. We just not too.
Not too much going on in the outdoors.
Yeah, it's just one of them weekends, man, where there's not a lot going on. So we will see. Okay, let me pop this up. See who's on board tonight. Terry DeFaw. Hey, what's going on, Terry? Charles Byram, Jim Miller, and two other people. Probably that was me and you logging in.
Kelly was on there a second ago.
Okay. Hello to everybody. As soon as Danny gets going here.
I'm trying to do it where I don't fat finger anything.
That's a good thing. Don't do that.
That kind of gets embarrassing. Okay. 1, 2. Did I do it down here? Yep.
Hey, Jim Miller, when is, since you're on, post in there, when is the turkey workshop? I think it's coming up in late March, early April. I can't remember the exact date on that. Let me know and I'll share that for those of you that are here locally. And Charles Byram, I actually got to talk to Charles while he was walking the dog yesterday.
Really?
He wasn't walking the dog, but yeah.
He was driving, the dog was running.
Yeah. Something like that. That's pretty cool.
All right, one more.
All right, Dave Hamity is on board. Hey, Dave, what's going on? Glad you could join us today on this cold, snowy February. What's today's date? 16th, 17th? 17th. So, you about done there?
Yep, almost.
All right, well, I'm just going to start without you. How about that?
Go right ahead. I got it.
Stand by. 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal Podcast, everybody. Sitting in the cabin today with Dan DeFaw, drinking some Hunter's Blend coffee.
Yeah.
Staying warm.
It kind of fits today, being 20-something degrees out. We're going to get some snow again.
Yeah. Let me look up. It's snowing right now.
Just like last week, we got a little bit of snow when we left here. We went to the
Archery
League. We had a few inches when we came out the door.
It was slick.
It was slick.
Within 2 hours, the roads got terrible pretty quick. That time of year that happens.
Absolutely. But everybody out there, if you could do us a favor, reminder, go over to huntersblendcoffee.com if you want a 10% discount. Use the promo code capital UNJ when you're checking out, and you'll get 10% off your order on the way out the door.
There you go.
So, yeah, nice quiet week on tap. Lots of things kind of out there that are just out there.
Stewing?
Yeah. It's like...
And I use the word stew. I mean, really, that's what it's about. I don't want to dive really deep into a lot of this stuff, but,
it's all fringe work.
It doesn't even matter what side of the political scene you're on, whether it be extreme left or right or in the middle or whatever. I see both sides, and especially when it comes to like the outdoors people picking. It's like they're taking something and picking at something to try to get it to scream or bleed a little bit.
Right.
And it's like, what purpose does that serve? I mean, seriously,
Exactly.
what purpose does that serve?
What purpose it serves is it's a good purpose is to attend the workshop that you asked Jim Miller about.
Okay.
On April 6th from 2 to 4 at Williams.
And Williams is just outside of Flint. It is east of Flint on I-69.
Irish Road.
Irish and Lapeer Road there at the corner.
Yeah. You can't miss it because when you get to there's the sign, I think.
Big sign there. Yeah. And if you perk your ear just right, you can hear the range.
You can probably hear them shooting, right?
So, speaking of birds, I saw birds yesterday. So,
I saw birds Friday.
yeah, I saw a big flock actually. There was some toms in there, and there's probably 20-ish.
Well, that's about what I saw, and I could have had all I had to do was speed up through the parking lot, and I would have ran a whole bunch of them over.
Are we talking about the same kind of birds?
I'm talking about some nice big fat turkeys.
Yeah, they were in a parking lot.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
They're to the parking lot where I go. One of the companies that I visit, it's either deer or they have turkeys. And I found out the turkeys sometimes get up on the roof and then they peck at the vents.
Okay.
So I said, I can take care of that problem for you guys.
I bet. Yeah.
So,
Set a pop-up blind on top of the roof and peck away. So to speak,
yeah,
right?
there was a bunch of hens in that group, and they're in the middle, walking across the parking lot and just pecking away. So I see David Boggs is joining us.
Yeah, Michael Fairfield from EZ Kut's on. Welcome to the show. So, and I'm trying to remember. Step back just a little bit. I can't remember if it was Michael that I was talking to, one of the people I was talking to. I know David was one of them, but I was talking to 7 people at one time.
I saw you posted that you were like multitasking conversations. I was so tempted just to call you, and
I had the phone going, man. I mean, my thumbs were smoking. I had 3 people via text, and I had 4 on Messenger all at the same time, and we were chatting back and forth. So
Shane Collins says Lim Walker game calls for life.
All right, Shane, glad you use them, man. Are you down in West Virginia there next to Mr. Tim? Hopefully.
I missed the show Friday night.
You know, I can't see his show because I'm always Friday nights. I have to shoot basketball now.
Right.
So I don't. When I'm out shooting basketball, he's on with his show. So I either have to watch it, recorded, or I have to miss it. So.
Exactly. So he was going to talk about Henned Up Gobblers.
Okay.
So I tuned in really late, and I was like, So, but yes, the Lim Walker game calls. That's another thing. Since we're talking about the turkey workshop,
Go ahead and grab it. I know you've been wanting to talk about the per plate here lately. It's up there.
I'm gonna gotta look around the coffee.
Don't you knock my coffee over.
I won't knock your coffee. I'm gonna try not to knock the mic off. But yeah, Tim, the last couple weeks,
Strikers are over there if you want one.
Yep. But it's getting to be about that time. You should start practicing.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna get that. Even if you're trying to do mouth calls, I practice my mouth calls on the way home from work usually.
Right.
Because I got a little time on my hands, so that's when I practice it.
You sit there and chirp at people?
Yes.
I bet you do.
Shane Collins is on the Tennessee line. He's on Tim's staff.
Okay. Tennessee and West Virginia. That's got to be probably near Bristol, I would imagine. In the Bristol area. Speaking of NASCAR, who's winning the race right now? And thanks for all you guys who are watching right now because the race is on. I don't want you to tune away from what we're doing, but... Does that thing sound good or what?
I tell you, that's a nice, low, soft purr.
It is.
And that's one of those things that you can just...
That's my Roll Tide call. That's the red slate.
It's a red slate, folks. It's not Roll Tide. It's a red slate.
And it's got that streak through it. To that slate.
It's got the veins through it.
That's the winning streak. But the per plate, man, I tell you what, this is something that's new that he came out with last year, and I tell you what, man, I love this thing. We actually got this in our hands. I think it was after our season ended, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. So, it was. He wanted to send us something because he was just trying it.
I want to get this in the field this year and try it out. So,
but get those calls out. Start practicing them. One of the things he talked about. This is a week or so back. on his show. Which do you take calls out to practice out in the field with?
No.
Well, he did, or does. He takes a call. He doesn't do it all the time.
Let me rephrase that. If I did, I wouldn't do it in my hunting area.
Michael Fairfield said this is way more important than NASCAR.
Right on. I agree with you, man.
Shane Collins says Red Slate is the bomb, fellas.
Good deal. So, Shane, I assume that you use the red slate in the field. Did you happen to get a per plate and use it in the field this last season, or maybe in the fall season?
I don't think so. I don't think Tim had him out.
Yeah, I can't remember, so I don't know when that actually came out. But no, I would not go out in my hunting area and call the birds.
I wouldn't either.
No, so.
Hey, Terry, if you can you find that article and forward it to me?
What's he talking about? Hey, Jim Beasley. Man, we got a
Jim Beasley is in mental preparation for tonight's show, for tonight's shoot.
Speaking of, if I can find it, I stopped over at the shop yesterday. Let me see if I can find this.
And my brother's scent lock socks are working at work. Wet and cold, but my feet are warm.
Good deal. Okay. I stopped over at Jim's yesterday, and we'll get into why I was over there a little bit later, but he handed me a flyer.
All right.
And this is for you guys that are here in the mid-Michigan area. March 11th, which is a Monday night, 6 p.m., I'm going to be there a little bit late, is Africa Night at Spot Shooter Archery. I think you haven't heard. No, this is mine.
Well, I got to see it.
No, you got to listen to me.
Don't I ever?
Best hunting in South Africa. Bow hunting, South Africa presentation from none other than the people we know. Dries Visser is going to be there, and they're going to be talking and giving a presentation about hunting in South Africa. Everyone who attends will be put into a free raffle for a 7-day hunt for a trophy gembuck, blue wildebeest, impala, and warthog. $20 raffle tickets for a 7-day trophy sable hunt. Drawing will be held March 25th, 2019. The one thing I don't know is the drawing that you're put in for attending. I assume that's going to be from all of the presentations given around the area. I don't imagine it'll be just from that shop. So, but also that day, Jim's going to have some special stuff going on. He told me to hold back on that just a little bit until the week before, so we're not gonna throw that out there just yet. But there'll be door prizes and 50-50 drawings and some other stuff. So make sure you get over.
Now can I see it?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
Spot Shooter Archery. That's on Grange Hall Road in Holly, Michigan.
Interesting.
Just off I-75. For those of you who might wonder.
Excellent. We talked with these guys at ATA last year.
2 years ago.
Well, yeah, 2 years ago now.
Yep. Yeah.
But
2018.
Yeah. Excellent. March 11th.
Mm-hmm.
What day is that?
That's a Monday.
It's a Monday night, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Rick Rangel, what's going on, man? I hope you got some squirrel stew ready for us.
Scott Bass says, hey, guys, thanks for being on the EZ Kut train. Choo choo.
Hey, right on, man. No problem with that. You know that, man. Speaking of, I'm losing my connection here.
Yeah, so am I.
There we go.
Okay.
You didn't bring your pack with you, did you?
No.
Okay. I thought we'd run through that again, maybe.
But actually, you got, you know what? The one thing I didn't have in the pack, do you got the saw?
Yeah. Do I have the saw?
That did not come in the pack, so I probably got to get one of those. Actually, we'll take a picture of this and.
What would you like for me to cut?
Don't cut the paper. We'll take a copy of this and we'll, or I'll get the JPEG from Jim and we'll get it up on the website.
On there from a tree.
Well, that's good.
Something like
I
that.
just wanted to see it because don't cut me with it.
You know what I'm waiting for is the new telescoping pole saw, the kamikaze saw that they got coming out this year.
It's the WOW saw.
Yeah. I like that thing, man. It's nice. It's light. It folds up. Goes right in your backpack. You know, we're going to digress here, folks. Seeing as how this got brought up. The pruners, ratcheting pruners that I keep in my pack. When I'm on stand, I'll carry these two in my backpack just because number one, they're lightweight.
Right.
And how many times have it happens to me, I'll set a stand and I think I got everything just the way I want it. And I'll go back to it a month later. Sometimes I'll set them up real early, maybe 2 months. Or maybe I've had one that's been sitting out from last season and something's grown just a little bit, or maybe something's fell and knocked a limb, and snapped it a little bit, and you need to either cut it or trim it. I've got these with me, so that's one reason I like to carry them in my pack. So,
and you know what? And they're lightweight, and like you said, plus, how many times have you gone out there? You're sitting there in the dark when it gets light, then you realize, yeah, there's that twig.
Yep. It's happened to me where I've had a shot blocked. And I wish I could trim something, don't have anything to trim it with, and then when I get down, and it may be down on the ground, where a deer walked through or something, and I want to cut a little limb or something, so, I keep them with me, so.
But yeah, so definitely, that is a good pack to have while you're out, especially if you're going to do some pre-scouting for turkey, if you want to kind of set yourself up for a little ground blind.
In that case, get the whole doggone pack. Get the sling pack. It's got the loppers in it. That's something I never thought about turkey season for these. I mean, since how we've been talking a little bit about turkey hunting.
Not so much maybe the beginning of the season when everything's kind of got the snowpack.
Yeah.
But when you get into May, if you're doing the late season and it starts to green up on you.
Yeah, and you want to set up and build a little ground blind or something.
Yeah, and especially when you get the vine starts, the vine types that start to green up and they start to close you in.
Yeah.
It's like just have the handheld one and.
Yeah, cut some greenery and put it down in front of you, what have you.
Right, exactly, because
break up your silhouette.
Especially with turkeys and their wonderful eyesight that they are, making sure that you're ready for them because they don't give you a lot of time once they spot you.
Absolutely,
they're
gone.
They're gone. So anything you can do to better your chances with seeing them, that goes making sure you get out and maybe do some practicing, sighting in that gun, getting that.
Get out there and get your stuff ready
Patterned.
to go. Yep. And Scott Bass says the kamikaze line rocks. Yeah, they're talking about that pole saw. They've got a handsaw, fixed blade handsaw. It's hollow ground. And honestly, I mean, I was kind of I was into construction for a while, but I didn't really realize what hollow ground meant on a blade. And it's just the way it's ground in the middle, so it doesn't catch as you're cutting.
Oh, okay.
It gives that relief. And they've got a whole new line of. And it's really coming out for kind of the landscaper people, people who work at arborists and things like that have to have the high quality tools to really get out there and when they're using them a lot. But it's something I definitely want to check into, especially the pole saw, because that's something I think I could use, a lot when I'm out setting stands up. So.
And Scott's got a great point. You can use it in the field, but then you could also use it on turkey legs and wings too, if you got to get them off the bird.
I didn't even think about that. Absolutely.
Like we talked about at the necropsy, they were using them when they were cutting open the deer.
And cutting the leg off.
Cutting the leg off and cutting the
jawbone.
Jaw and at the bottom.
So, yeah, the loppers this year, when we're doing our deer management, that's what I'm going to use those loppers exclusively for cutting and taking that jawbone out.
We saw how they took the jawbone out. They didn't take it.
They do theirs a little different.
Yeah.
And the way they slice, because what they were doing does they were slicing that lip back, and then they were just cutting the bone.
Yep,
with loppers. And we really got to get those guys some easy cuts to use.
Yeah, they were struggling a little bit.
But the way we're going to take them out is the way that the QDMA guys in their video recommend, especially if you're going to take and do some taxidermy work. You don't want to cut that lip open or that jawline open, and you reach back in with the loppers and cut the back of that jawbone, use their extracting tool, and pull that bone right out. So that's what we're going to use them.
But exactly. So here you got a product that so far now we talked about using it in deer hunting. Mm-hmm. We've now used it in turkey season.
Mm-hmm.
So anything around the garden or around the house, you can use it as well.
The first pair of pruners I got my hands on, I cleared my entire fence line we got wild grapevines, and on some of those vines are inch and a quarter around, and I took those pruners and just went to town on them, and I spent 2 days cutting straight just on a weekend and cleared the whole fence line off.
Right, exactly.
So
they're just not for hunting. That's a purchase such as this is just not limited to a season.
Right.
You can use them all year round, whether you're gardening, whether you're working around the house, you're out hunting turkey, you're out hunting deer, or anything else. You're out bear hunting, moose hunting.
Yep.
It's always good to have a good pair of loppers, especially the ratchet style is just makes quick work of it.
Yep. And, if you do happen to dull a blade, they make replacement blades that go on real quick and easy as well. And those are relatively inexpensive, so you can get those and get the things back in order. And actually this year I'm going to order replacement blades for my pruners and my loppers just in case.
Right.
Because I have a tendency to go overboard.
You?
And try to cut things that I probably really shouldn't.
No way. You go overboard? Come on.
Like a pocket knife. They say never use a pocket knife as a pry bar or a screwdriver. Well, I have a tendency to do those things,
and you do both, don't you?
Yeah, so it's like, well, if I get maybe chip the edge of those shears or the pruners, that way I've got one on hand.
Exactly. It's always good to have.
It's better to have them on hand and not need them than need them and not have them. So
right. But no, EZ Kut. Check them out at the website ezkut.com, and get that taken care of. Get them ordered early so you have them before season. That way you can.
Michael Fairfield's laughing. He knows what I mean.
Right.
Yeah. So. I tell you what, we're up against our first break here, so we're going to step outside and we're going to take our first break. So you hang tight, you guys, on the live stream. We'll be right back after this. Yeah, so everybody on the live stream, hang on here.
Anybody on the live stream, you got any questions? Throw them at us. We're got an open book tonight. We like we said at the beginning of the show, we looked into some things that are happening on the fringe of what's going on out there, but it's just, I don't know.
I'm not jumping in that pot. I'm not going to jump in that fire pot.
Right.
I will touch on one thing. We'll touch on one just a little bit.
That's interesting. This must.
They contacted him about that. So yeah, I want to go to that.
I'll talk to you after the show about that.
All right. Danny's got some inside information he doesn't want to give out.
Well, it's.
All right. I saved that off as the wrong thing.
Why don't you resave it?
Because I'll just rename the other one, the next one, just the opposite, so it's not a big deal. Saving files here, folks, is what I'm trying to do.
Good thing you didn't have a knife with them.
Right, yeah. So I'm saving off our audio for the podcast. We got some people on here who probably haven't seen this yet. Probably the first time chiming in. So we take our audio from this. We've been doing this for quite a while, and we started live streaming 3 years ago. And we killed two birds with one stone. So
right, we're over 100 shows deep into live streaming.
Yeah, and over 500.
Basically, yeah. And for the people that are new on the show and are watching, typically we go at 7 o'clock at night.
Right.
But for the last 6 weeks, actually this will be the 7th week this week, and 5 more weeks coming up. We're shooting in a league on Sunday night, so we got to be out of here ready to shoot by 6 o'clock. So typically. During the weekend, the live show happens at 7 o'clock on Sunday night.
So by 5 o'clock, by about 5:05, 5:10, we got to be out the door. So
because Jim Beasley is probably mentally training himself again to show us up. We shot with him last week. We shot against him last week, and
all right, you ready?
Yes.
Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back. Second segment of the show. Hanging out in the cabin, talking with some of our talking back and forth with, I'm sorry, talking with some of our viewers of the podcast or the live stream, but Jim Miller, yeah, did I see the CWD report out of Pennsylvania? Yes, and actually that was one of the things I was kind of on the fringe about.
And Scott Bass is offering to give everybody a viewer a deal right now.
Ah, there you go. You guys got that? Get a hold. You see down here, Scott Bass. He is on the live stream portion of the Up North Journal podcast here right now. If you go over and click on his name, he says I can give all of your viewers a deal right now. So
EZ Kut.
On EZ Kut. You guys want any of these products? Get over there. Get a hold of him right now.
Right.
He's the man to talk to. So good deal.
And a special gift if you order.
All right, there you go. That's service with a smile right there.
That's called instantaneous Facebook, social media,
That's right.
live.
That's right. That's right. So, see, everybody on the podcast, what you're missing by not tuning in at 4 o'clock on Sunday for the next
Right.
5 weeks now, after you hear this.
Yeah.
We'll be back to 7 o'clock after that. So,
Right. And
you got to come join.
it sounds like we need to have Scott on the show.
We'll make that happen. Definitely.
But
Absolutely,
yes.
Michael Fairfield.
All right. So Jim Miller is dragging you into this.
Yeah. Jim has thrown out the line, and I bit, and he's reeling me in right now. Yes, Jim, I did hear about CWD stuff out of Pennsylvania. And basically, it's the spongiform type. I can't remember what it's called. Spongiform something. I want to say algae, but I don't think that's right. This scientist has been studying for years and saying that he thinks that this is what's causing CWD in our whitetail, and that the prion, the folded prion, is actually a marker or a byproduct of the CWD. He thinks that the prion is not causing it. And I actually talked to Dr. Kroll about this a little bit. Was that 2 weeks ago, or was that last week we were up there?
Last week.
I've lost track of time. But anyway, he come to the conclusion that he is excited for the fact that people are looking in different avenues.
They're not just focused one way.
Right. Down this long corridor of CWD and the prion. He says it's nice to see other people start to look at different avenues and doing research to see if it might be something else.
Right.
Causing this. 'Cause we really don't know.
That is the basis of what's going on, is they don't know. So they've been always narrowly focused. Don't do this, don't do that. It's this, it's this, it's this.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, this Pennsylvania says, "Hold on a second.
Right.
We're looking over to the left, and we see something over here."
Right.
Now all of a sudden, it's like, huh? Because I noticed a story came out this week about CWD on one of the main national channels.
Right.
And I read it, and I'm like,
the thing that has me a little bit concerned, and I'm going to go out on a limb here just a little bit. Don't use the EZ Kut wow saw to cut me off and watch me fall either. But the fact that there's this group that all of a sudden came out and on social media is really pushing hard on this. And that has me a little bit concerned as to, okay, well, where did this group come from? Why haven't we heard about it up until now? And all of a sudden, bang, there's this big backing pushing it. That's all I want to say about it.
right, exactly. And one thing we've learned about is, seems to be a big picture of some of these things that goes on, is there's always some kind of agenda behind it.
Right.
Until you peel back the onion.
Right.
And you start finding out who's doing what and
What
who's
direction
pushing
it's
what.
leading, yeah.
And it's like, oh, hold on a second.
Yeah. I'd like to see it fleshed out a little bit. Let it progress. Let it stew a little bit, and really see where these things start to land. Before I get a little worried when I see a big push behind something and everybody jumping on the bandwagon.
Well, I think
I think people like us as hunters, I think we want that cure.
I think so. I think
we're eager for it, and that's what scares me.
I think that's what it is. I think we've been told how bad this is, how the end of the world is coming, and all of a sudden, finally, there's a glimmer of hope that, hey, we might have something here. So there's all of a sudden a push to hope this is the thing, because this is what we need, because if you listen to the other places that it's the end of the world, and you're killing everything and really don't know if you're killing it, which we've been told you can't, to people leaving the sport.
Right.
And you don't want to see that either. But if you're scaring the people out of the sport because you're scaring them, because basically what they're saying, and my brother had it earlier, it's never been proven to go to humans.
Right.
And I want him to send me this article because I want to see how they said it. But they're saying, well, eventually it will.
Yeah, right.
Well, okay, by that statement right there, is that a yes, it will next month, or just it might?
Yeah, right.
when you put it in writing and you put it in the public eye and you see how it gets strewned about.
Well, just like there's a researcher out west, and I think it was either Wyoming, Colorado, that had done some research, and they was talking about deer urine. And they took his research, pulled it apart, and used things. Now we've got deer urine-based products being banned in certain states, and it's probably going to go full bore here. When that's not what he said at all.
No, they cherry picked his
30,000 gallons of deer urine.
Yeah,
to equal what they were putting in the brain cavity and growing it that way.
Exactly.
In the lab.
They kind of skipped some words in the sentence, and they cherry picked what they wanted to see. Mm-hmm. So they took a nice paragraph of what he said, got it down to a sentence to scare the heebie-jeebies out of you.
Yeah.
And truthfully, 30,000 gallons. Once you read the paragraph in its entirety, mm-hmm. you look at that and go,
"What?
Yeah,
how did you get that out of this?"
Right, exactly. And when the scientist himself says, "Guys, you took it out of context," mm-hmm. gives you a red flag.
Right.
And it goes back to peel back the onion and find out what the agenda is.
Yeah. So I guess, Jim, to kind of go back,
we like to see it vetted.
Yeah, I've got guarded optimism, I guess is the way to look at it. Yeah, I'm optimistic that, hey, somebody's doing some research. This might have something, but yet and still I'm still a little bit guarded on it. And there was another story that come out about Indiana. I mean, as you guys know, I started talking about going down there and hunting this year. There was some deal with and I don't know a lot about this. I read just a snippet of it, so I don't want to dive into it too deep. But there was a cervid farm down there that I take that back. It wasn't a cervid farm. It was a cattle farm that wound up with bovine tuberculosis. Okay.
Okay. So
it wasn't CWD. See, I'm starting to confuse my own self here. It was tuberculosis.
Is this the first case in Indiana? Or
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
They're wanting to bring in sharpshooters instead of letting the surrounding areas hunters take care of this problem and try to minimize the impact of it. So, long story short, Michigan's not the only one dealing with CWD or TB or other issues. You know, I think it goes around the country. And it's cyclical, depending on, EHD. That's another one. Depending on how dry or wet the season.
Depends on how your summer goes.
Yeah.
And Dan Anderson's tuning in from Wisconsin, another state that's dealing with it in various ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And they're pushing close to my Michigan border up there.
Right.
So,
Tim Cias here. We got the man, the myth, the legend on from Lim Walker Game Calls. He says that his turkey hunting team needs to get some EZ Kut. Absolutely. And if you look at what Scott Best just did from EZ Kut, he says 10% off coupon code and mention Mike and Dan in the notes from the seller for a special gift. Gift will be a secret with each order.
Right.
So there you go, guys.
And right, Jim, we are hopeful. Ken Seclune is tuning in. He's starting to change his focus, I notice, obviously with Facebook. He's starting to look at the hard water going away and the soft water coming in.
I tell you what, hold that thought, because let's I don't want to get into this stuff on the French, like I said, that Jim wrote me into, kind of.
Right.
But let's take our next break. We come back. I want to talk about yesterday. About
the hard water you went and looked at?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll kind of dive into that a little bit, so to speak. So we'll be right back after this. All right.
Yeah, you guys out there, way to go, Jim. Way to go get him pulled into it.
That's all right. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for, especially on a night like tonight, folks. There's nothing, like I said in the last break, we looked at some things that are out there. It's all fringe stuff that we wanted to talk about. So, but we did not anticipate having Scott Bast on.
No.
In this 10% off coupon. So
that is a nice little added bonus tonight. Scott, appreciate that, man. That is cool. Really appreciate that. All right. Ready, Danny?
Another snow day here for Dan Anderson. Oh,
we've had a bunch here.
Dan, how much snow have you gotten? I saw Greg Miller posting too. But how much snow have you gotten lately? It's been getting a ton. I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. Third segment of the show. So, you want to talk a little fishing?
Yeah, let's. Got Ken Sakloon on. He's been talking about soft water, thinking about his boat, but you were gonna get the Rambo bike out, and you were gonna head over and go get this.
I had a plan.
You had a plan.
Mm-hmm. I had a plan. It's something I wanted to check out. I wanted to see if I could use the Rambo to ice fish with. And I was like, well, you're going to use a bike to ice fish? Well, my plan was, and I had actually seen somebody actually try this and do this, but I had to do it and try it for myself, is to get the ice shanty and go over to the lake and get on the hard water and get the shanty hooked up. I got that little tow latch on the back of the bike, hook it to that, and drag the shanty across on the snowpack on the lake. Make it easy getting in and out off the lake.
Okay, so
haul all the gear by yourself. You don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. When we're talking a decent sized lake, so if you wanted to walk across, a half-mile walk to the other side where they're, why not take the bike, hook it up, and drive it across?
So I got everything ready. I got all my ice fishing gear in, loaded up. We haven't been since last year. The weather here has been up and down. Haven't had really good hard ice, safe ice until the last week and a half or two, where it's been stable.
Yeah.
So I said, before I go buy bait, I probably ought to go check to make sure that we got some good snowpack, because I am not going to ride the bike on slick ice, just ice.
Because you don't have no studs in the tires.
Yeah.
That's the reason you need some snow pack.
Yeah. So before I left, I actually got the shanty out, hooked it to the bike, took it around the yard just to make sure also that it was going to work before I actually went all the way over there. And it worked great. I was dragging that thing all over the yard like nobody's business, because we had some snow here in the yard. So got over to the lake to check the ice, and it was glare ice. Smooth as a baby's butt. And I'm like, that ain't gonna work. But what really surprised me was the fact, as I pulled in to the park, I see 4 cars coming out.
Okay.
4 vehicles, like nose to tail. I'm like, okay, this time of year, 4 cars in the park, let alone driving together, is a rarity. Seeing 4 cars total.
Right.
And they're all here coming out at the same time. So I get up to the overlook to where I can see Big 7, Little 7, and it's full of cars. I'm like, what's going on? And as you make that curve, you can actually see Big 7.
Yeah.
It looked like a winter carnival going on.
Really?
It was packed. People all over the place. Yeah.
I know why.
Well,
I think
the first thing I thought of, free fishing weekend
that's
here
exactly
in
what I was
Michigan.
gonna say.
I'm about like, there can't be that many people out here ice fishing for free fishing weekend. So I get on back to the park, and I get back to close to the parking area, but there's that first turnoff by the pavilions.
Yes.
There's cars all in there, and I see somebody like unloading a truck. So I pull up, talk to the guys. Hey, I said, what is going on? I said, are they having an ice fishing derby or something? And he's like, well, kinda. He said, it's the free fishing weekend stuff, but he said they're also doing this big celebration of state parks this weekend. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. So I proceeded to go on back towards the boat launch, and then there's the big beach access where they got the picnic tables and the grills and all that stuff.
Okay.
The DNR's there. They're cooking up hot dogs for the kids. There's a big party going on underneath one of the shelters there. And back at the boat launch, it's just packed back there too. So
really?
I go and make this. I counted 37 shanties that I could see, and there was probably 100 to 150 people on the ice outside the shanties that was fishing.
No way,
dude! It was just packed. It was packed.
I've never seen 37 people on the water at the same time.
Right. It was insane. Actually, I took photos, but I didn't get them uploaded to where I could show them tonight. It was crazy.
This was all because they were celebrating the state parks and
free fishing weekend.
So I did hear an ad yesterday going up north. But it was in Bay City, so I wonder if
Okay.
that was. Yeah, it must have been related then.
Well, Bay City's got that state park up
yeah.
there.
So
Yeah, I think it was like statewide. And the guy said, "Well, I get, he said, yeah, I heard." I said, "How'd you hear about it?" He goes, "Well, I get the alerts from the DNR." I go, "So do I, but I don't remember seeing anything about it."
I think it was about free fishing weekend, and
Yeah, well, I've heard that, but
Yeah.
not the park celebration.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was insane. It was really cool to see that park being utilized. Number one. So after that, I was like, well, okay, I can't take the bike on the ice, but I can take it in the woods.
yes, you can.
And they've got these foot trails over there that go all over the place. I said, I'll take the camera out and I'll set it up and ride and shoot some video because I want to get some video of the bike. And I was going to go down to Dickinson.
Okay.
Well, everything was plowed. And you get to that turn, make that right turn to go into Dickinson.
Yeah.
And then there's the parking area to the left. They plowed to the parking area and that was it. So everything down the hill in the big turn was not plowed and it was a glare sheet of ice. And I just stopped and I'm like, even in four-wheel drive, there's no way I'd get up that thing. And I probably wouldn't make the turn. I'd probably go off the side.
Well, especially the big
The big loop.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd probably just go straight.
Because that thing is steep.
Yeah, it's a steep decline to get down to the
Yeah.
lake.
There's no way to get. I figured there's no way I'd get back up it either if I managed to get down it. So
Right.
I was like, well, all right, screw this. I said I'm going to go over to the bait shop, over to Jim over there to Spot Shooter because he's got a bait shop too. So I went over there and hung out for an hour. And he said, and actually people were buying bait left and right while I was there. He had a great day. He was
Another great day. That
Yeah.
the last couple weeks he's had some good Saturdays for doing some ice fishing. That's awesome. So that's why you were at Spot Shooters.
Yep.
Scott asked, replying to Tim, got to run, guys. You're very good. He wants to be in the studio. We can do that.
Yeah, we'll make that happen. We'll get a hold of you. Absolutely.
Charles Byram. Foot of snow here last night in southwest Iowa, and look outside and it's snowing. Ugh.
Well, if it's in Iowa, that means it's probably headed our way. Actually, it's quit snowing here at the moment.
It quit snowing here and we sent it down to Iowa.
We're expecting, I think, 1 to 3 tonight.
1 to 3 tonight. And
No big deal.
yeah, it's no big deal.
So,
well, I shouldn't say that, but sometimes the least amount of snow is the worst.
yep.
So, but so your whole plan
Got thrown right out the window.
right out the window.
The most I got to ride the bike was from the backyard to the front and tow the sled around the shanty. And then when I took it off last night when I got back home, I took it for a spin around the backyard. That was it.
I am surprised. I guess I'm not, but I'm surprised there was no snow cover on the ice.
Nope. It was clear ice. And there was some white ice too, but it wasn't snow.
So was there?
There was a guy out there actually ice skating. I kid you not. He was going full stride across the ice.
There you go.
So there was no snow.
Speaking of ice, and did you see the video of the guy that drove his truck just north of here into the ice?
Yeah, actually, another podcaster that I know, Jason Sacco, sent me a picture last night. He was one of the 7 that I was.
Oh, one of the stuff you were multitasking with?
Yes.
Yeah. And then he tried to go back to the vehicle to save the stuff that he wanted in the car.
There was a picture of him by the vehicle. Yeah.
Well, there's some video of him on top of the truck trying to get in, and then his his dismount off which would have been the tailgate onto ice was just
Epic.
epic.
Okay.
It's like, dude, and it went down. It was in 12 feet of water. So
Well, Jason said that that was precipitated by alcohol infusion.
yes, bottom line, alcohol and driving on the ice was not a good combination there.
Alcohol doesn't mix with many things at all.
And to the proof and the point is when he went back to his vehicle to get the stuff out that he wanted to save as it was sinking, and they're trying to grab him off the vehicle. So down here, I don't think our ice is good enough for vehicles.
I wouldn't even begin to try.
Right. I've seen things where it's gone bad.
I was leery about getting out yesterday, because our temperature swings so far all the way up until last week. It's been so up and down.
Right.
We'll have days that are in the high 40s. Then we got all that rain 2 weeks ago. And I was afraid to eat the ice up. Our Skycam at work, we got trained on the Saginaw River there in Bay City.
Okay.
I can tell what the ice conditions are just by turning that thing on the river and looking to see if there's ice shanties out there. In the last 3 weeks, there's been none.
Yeah, coming over Z Bridge yesterday, they were. It was like,
Man,
but
not me.
in a moment's notice, that water can change.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
well, hopefully, you can get that bike out with whatever this weather's going to be doing here, and kind of show these people what it does on the ice. Would have been kind of cool.
We still got a shot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
it's not over yet because it's only February, middle of February.
Right. Well, next weekend I'm not going to be in town. I'm going to head down to Indiana.
Yeah, you're going to head to Indiana, and I tell you what, with about a month to go here before we even, I think, start to think about temperature swings, I think we might be able to get out there. At least
I'm hoping so. You know, the week after that, I really want to get out there and do some ice fishing.
I know.
I want to take a picture of the bike next to the shanty with me and you holding fish up.
There you go.
That'd be kind of cool.
I like the fish part. That means we're catching something.
Right. Instead of catching a cold.
Right, exactly.
So.
2 weeks, we're going to have Michigan Outdoor Rama, too. So that'll be in town. I do believe, I got to make sure, but I think Tim said he's going to be in town for that. Tim Andrews.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Tim Cius. I said, he's coming to Michigan?
No, not that Tim.
Tim, he's trying to get you to come to Michigan.
I always try to get Tim to come to Michigan.
So, yeah, next weekend I will be at the Indiana Deer and Turkey Classic. I'm going to be sitting down with the guys from Backwater Legacies and hanging out with them. And I also hope to be over in the Rambo and X Tree Stand booth with Josh for a little while.
There you go.
Although he doesn't know that I'm coming down yet, so it's going to be a surprise to him. So if you guys from EZ Kut are still on here, don't tell him. I'll surprise him.
He's down at NWTF.
And they have been killing it down there.
And NWTF is a kind of a cool banquet.
Yeah, we got to go one year.
You know, yeah, it's kind of is it always in the same spot, or does it travel? You don't know.
I don't know.
I will check it out.
Seems like it's always in Nashville. Jim Miller, if you're still on, do you know? You're the big turkey guy here, or Tim Cius, you're the other big turkey guy here.
I don't know if it floats like an ATA does, or
I don't know.
Like that.
Gotcha. I don't ever remember it being up this way. It seems like it's always down in Nashville. So, EZ Kut will be at Outdoor Rama. Wow. Okay. Get a hold of us, Scott. We'll see if we can do something there. Definitely. I didn't know that they were going to be up this way. So,
Scott, I'll get a hold of you after the show.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or this week, I'll get a hold of you.
Yeah. We'll knock some stuff out for sure. So, speaking of that, let's knock out this last break. We're going to step outside. We're going to take our next break, and we'll be right back after this. Yeah, you know, being show season, it's just this really gets a lot of things for us going on the weekends, and it is hard for us to try to pin down an ice fishing day along with show season and the weather. I mean, the weather is so unpredictable up here.
Always in Nashville.
So, Scott, I take it that you are in Michigan. Am I correct in saying that? And he says, yes, always in Nashville. All right, let me save this one off here. Okay. All righty.
Did you save it off correctly? I have to watch them, folks. If you ever notice,
Actually, I double lettered it. That's okay.
He double lettered it.
You know, as long as I get all my mistakes out now before we go to league tonight and shoot.
Right?
I'm not going to say anything about shooting tonight. I don't want to jinx myself.
No. But we are all paid up.
We are for the rest of the season. Here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back. Last segment of the show.
Last segment of the show. I have finished my Hunter's Blend coffee. But for those of you who need a refill, get on over to huntersblendcoffee.com. When you're checking out, use our promo code UNJ, capital UNJ, and you'll get 10% off your order on the checkout on the way out the door.
You know, seeing how we're kind of covering some products tonight that we use and talk about quite often, I just seen something here that I just realized was sitting up here. This little...
The Oz box.
Yeah, the ozone generator.
They call it a generator?
Well, whatever you call it. I mean, I don't know. It does ozone.
It does ozone.
I need to use that again on my shoes, my gym shoes. This week, I didn't get my laundry done up the way I should have, and I ran out of my Scent Lock socks to use at the gym, and I went back to the old cotton socks.
You can tell.
Dang, man! After a week, my socks were my shoes pretty bad. So I'm going to put that back in the bag, and I think if you remind me next week, we'll do that.
While we're doing the show.
Well, I have to put it on a 3-hour setting.
Is it? What's it got? 1 and 3.
1 and 3, yeah.
1 and 3.
I tried it with 1, and it took away a lot of it, but it didn't like get rid of all of it. So I put it on a 3-hour setting, and it took care of it.
Charles Byron wants to know if you're going to be turkey hunting in Indiana.
Probably not.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. And the reason is the property that we got doesn't have birds on it. I didn't see one turkey track. David, that I'm hunting with, said that there's no birds on that property. They have never seen any. And I think I kind of know why, and we talked about that briefly. There's really no travel corridor for them birds to get to that property, per se, from the other big ag lands. He said they're about 5 miles away, there's birds, but not right there in that proximity because it's so wide open around it.
If the NWTF would like to relocate a group of birds.
Yeah, come on down. I'll help them.
There you go. See?
We'll catch some birds and release them.
Easy as that.
So, but no, I'll be hunting up here actually. You didn't put in for a tag?
Well, no, because we're gonna hopefully be
traveling with a couple guys.
Couple of guys on private land.
And if that doesn't work out, then you're going to come up to my place.
Then we'll figure out how to get up to your place and
So we're going to do the 234 or the Z, not the ZZ, but the 234 hunt.
And he hasn't started yet. So I keep reminding him. Now you make sure you got those birds well trained for us.
Yeah, right. I know how that goes. I tried that last year and had my buddy set up. He'd never been turkey hunting before, and on the last day, we were on birds the first morning. Just couldn't get him to cooperate, and we just, it was a 50-50 crapshoot of which way to set up, and I chose the wrong way. It's just the way it goes.
There is no script for them.
No, but the last day of the hunt, I told him, I said, this is good. I said, I think we're going to be able to seal the deal here. You just pay attention. You sit by this tree and you look straight ahead and look to your left. I said, because those birds, if they come down that edge of that field, they have a tendency to circle through this little bit of cover and then pop out. And I don't know if he fell asleep. I don't know if he was just staring and was like thinking of other things. And he had the gun in his lap and his hands were not on the gun and he was just sitting there, and all of a sudden he shifted his eyes and there's two toms right there, 25 yards, going, "Hi guy, how you doing?
You gonna shoot me? You can't shoot me when you don't have your gun pointed at me."
And he's like, "Mike, there's a bird. Tom, there's a bird right there." And I'm like, "Well, shoot it," because I'm on a tree directly behind him, facing the other way, looking down another short field. And yeah, it was comedy of errors at that point for him.
Last week, I was listening to Tim's CS's Friday night show,
which is on
Friday night at 8:00.
On the Limb.
On the Limb, our sponsor.
Lim Walker Game Calls.
Does his live show. Any questions? I don't know if he put a subject out for this coming week. Last week was henned up gobblers, and then the week before we were talking, and I asked him a question because he was about scouting and going looking, and I said, "By the way, how many hunters do you encounter when you're out scouting?" He's like, "Not many," which kind of made me laugh.
Not where you usually hunt,
because where we go, it's like, well, you and everybody else is coming.
Yeah, I've hunted over there before, and actually had me and another hunter start calling to each other.
Had that happen to me basically last year, and it was kind of comical. Well, last year I let the jakes go by, and they got blasted by the time they got to the end of the field. But I had 3 hunters within 100 yards of me.
Right.
And I purposely went in a couple days before to set up my blind and kind of say, "Hey,
get your spot locked down.
This is where I'm at," and he doesn't really have any hunting pressure, which is kind of awesome. I mean,
where we're at, we don't have hunting pressure per se either.
It's like, man, but down here in the southern, on state land and stuff, parkland.
Well, if you think about it, down here in this part of Michigan, where there are birds on state land, and people that don't have access to private land, that's where they got to go. And I think that's why it's so high pressure. Not to mention the fact that those parks also have other people who use it differently for non-hunting purposes that we have to deal with as well. And that's one reason, I got tired of sitting in snow and hunting birds, and that's why I came down here and started hunting down here. But the pressure it was so great that I didn't want to deal with it anymore, and that's why I'm now back up and
Going back north.
Yeah, going back north.
So that's the problem we got with private land. You know what, Charles? We'll get with Scott, and if Scott doesn't reply to you here, we'll get a list and see where they're going to be at, because Charles is asking if they're going to be at the Iowa Classic.
Okay.
But we'll get with Scott and get maybe a lineup of where they're going to be here in the next month or two.
Yeah, if you get a chance to try out that product, I'm telling you what, if you guys have watched us and listened to us for any length of time, you know that the things that we talk about is quality stuff. We don't promote anything that we don't use or that we don't believe in, or both, actually. So I'm telling you, for what the product costs, it's well worth the money, and it's not like it's astronomically priced either.
And it's not something you're just going to use for one season. No. You're going to have these probably for a long time.
Yep.
Unless you really try to use them as a screwdriver, or not in their intended thing.
I was online this week, or actually today before you come over, and I was reading there was a guy that had a problem with the pruners, and he never did say what he did, which really leads me to believe the fact that he was using them improperly.
Well, that'll kind of do it.
But one of the guys said, send them back. They've got a lifetime warranty. Now the replaceable blade doesn't, but the unit itself does. So it's like once you spend that money on them, I think they retail for just under $40 for the pruners, and the replacement blade I think is $7 or $8 plus.
But there's a lifetime warranty on them.
Yeah, and I tell you what, like I said, I'm hard on my gear. Sometimes I take it too far, but so far these things have been flawless. I really went to town with them last year. The only problem I had, and it's the pair. I got two pair of pruners. I got the one here in the sling pack, and I got one in my backpack. My backpack pair, the very first ones I had, I did put a little nick in the blade, and the reason I did that is I was cutting grapevines.
You cut the fence?
I cut the fence. So, like I said, I have a tendency to take things a little too far sometimes and not watch what I'm doing.
Right, exactly.
And it wasn't a fault of the product. It was me not paying attention to what I was doing. So.
Yep, exactly. So, but it's interesting to see the pressure he was going through down there and what he was talking about, and the pressure we go through here. Because I was asking him questions because I was kind of just like, because I know the one guy we know through turkey hunting over at the park. He starts a month in advance going
Scouting
every day and finding where the birds are.
Right.
Other people, they show up the day of and
hope for the best.
Right. And it's like, and it just, and then you do all the scouting you want, you don't see anybody, and then you come opening morning, and then you got, like I did, where did you all come from?
You get, we call it the Orange Army here in Michigan. They don't wear orange in turkey season, but you get the proverbial camo army coming in, and you can usually tell if they've done their scouting, because they'll make a beeline. You can tell those people that make a beeline right to where they want to go, but then you get the people who are just stumbling around kind of aimlessly, and you get the flashlight, wink, 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 I'm here.
Right.
Then they'll turn and they kind of meander, and they're just kind of all over the place.
Exactly.
So.
And then by doing that, you don't know what's 100 yards behind you anymore. And it's just.
Yeah, they push the birds out of the area.
The guy I have a lot of respect for, the guy we met over in the park, I've known him for the last few years of going over there and talking with him. He's very sociable to saying, hey, I'm going to be down over here. Where are you going to be? Okay, you're going to be over there.
Yeah.
We got respect. Okay.
Work with each other.
Just so we know. He goes, hey, if you see I did a trail to my blind. I said, okay, I'm good with that.
Right.
Instead of getting the old...
My spot,
get away from me, blah, blah, blah.
Right. So.
Okay, so Dane Anderson's reporting in from Wisconsin. 4 to 6 inches today on top of the 8. They had a good thaw back in January, yep. Oh, okay, you're saying Greg has much more in the north. Okay. And yes, soft water is sounding better and better. Okay, so Greg is north of Dan. Okay. Gotcha.
Well, soft water will be here pretty soon. I mean, like you was talking about with Ken, he getting the boat, wanting to get the boat out. I still want to put a hole through the ice. So I
It'd
don't.
be nice. I got the auger sitting right at the end of my garage. It's in hand. Just grab it and go.
If we can wait another 2 to 3 weeks, and then we can start getting into soft water season.
I think for sure up here in Michigan, I don't think we're gonna have a problem with that.
I hope.
I don't. At least not in this week's forecast. I think we're all set. It's going to be pretty chilly.
Right. So that's the plan. We got a couple minutes here left. If what do you got going here the next couple weeks? What are you thinking?
The next couple weeks,
Besides ice fishing,
we got depending on when we catch that warm up. Probably in March. Maybe we'll get out the shotguns and we'll go do some patterning of the turkey guns just to make sure they're hitting where we thought they were last year. I'd like to shoot. I got to shoot one of them because I had it magna-ported last year, but I never got to shot it with the magna-porting. So I want to get out there and make sure, because if somebody's going to put me on birds, I sure don't want to miss, because he's going to let me have it. Okay,
he will let you have it.
Yeah, he will.
Absolutely. And for those of you here in mid-Michigan who want to reiterate again, Saturday, April 6th, which is not that far away. We're talking, 6 weeks, 5 weeks?
Yeah.
From 2 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon at Williams Gun Sight Company over here just outside of Flint, Michigan. We'll be putting on, the Flint River chapter of the NWTF is going to be putting on their turkey workshop. They got a gun raffle that they do every year.
They got a gun raffle. They got some things for the kids. They let them, they got a gun shoot. They'll let them shoot. They'll let anybody shoot. It's just not for kids. It's just you get over there and you can. It's a good day.
Did they shoot at the turkey workshop? Is that afterwards or
you know what? I might have that messed up with the Jake's event.
Jake's Day. I'm not sure.
Yeah, turkey workshop maybe not.
So, but they do have a range, an outdoor range there. So if you're over there afterwards or beforehand, you can go and pattern your guns.
And they will have. Typically, they have a 2-lane. Range for turkey patterning. It's off to the side there, and my suggestion is you just get there a little bit early in the morning before the crowd does.
Yep.
And it's really cool. I think it's set at 25 yards, and that's where I go when I go, and it's fun. Plus you can see where you're shooting.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, I know the last couple of years they've had the DNR officer Dan come over and give the turkey workshop. Guy's great. He knows these birds. He's funny. He makes it very entertaining to watch and to listen. Answers a ton of the questions. So you guys come on over for the event. Especially if you're new to turkey hunting and you're looking for some good education on it, and maybe you're a seasoned hunter and you're looking for just something different, just a little different tip or trick to seal the deal. That's just a good way to get out, interact with other hunters and the DNR, and get those questions answered. So finishing up on the turkey question, Jim Miller's got it right here in the show notes. Any info you want, just give him an email at his email address right there at .net, and he'll get you all the info you need to about the turkey workshop. No shooting at the workshop.
There you go. And Charles, as soon as he can get through the snow, he's going to get out shed hunting.
I do want to give a quick shout out to Charles. That was pretty cool yesterday. He was live streaming, and as soon as he went on, I just happened to be on my phone, and him and I were interacting back and forth. And he's out in Iowa, and he was walking his dog, or he let his dog outside the truck walking the fields. He was driving down the dirt road there, and the dog was, running down the road, getting some exercise, doing a little shed hunting, looking. And that was pretty cool. It was really neat because he would pan the phone off to the side, and we were talking about different things, and I'm like, oh, that drainage right there, that looks like a really good deer run right there. That's where he's like, yeah, that's where deer come through and walk back over to where he just tell me where he kind of hunted and stuff, And it's really cool when you get to see other land, that you never would get to see because of technology.
Yep, exactly.
Or you get to talk to 7 people at one time. That's we never got to do that before, or even bring the show to you live like we're doing right now.
Right, exactly.
So,
my brother, if we do go ice fishing, what kind of bait, jigs, what styles? Most likely, if we're going to end up over at the lake, we think we're going to end up wax worms,
Yeah, some waxies or some spikes.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably use like teardrops.
Yep, on teardrops. Depending on how gutsy, we might set a tip up or two up, depending on what we're looking for.
That's something I didn't see out there yesterday.
Any tip ups?
Yeah, but
I don't know if that's a real big lake for it. We've done it before, but
well, when I was over at Jim's there at the bait shop, he was selling some tip-up baits.
yep.
So there was some guys that were going down to Crotchet. There was another guy that was going over to Bevins Lake. So there was a couple of different lakes that they were hitting that wasn't over there in the state park system. So, but I tell you what, we're bumping up on it here. Let's go ahead and wrap up the,
All right,
the podcast
guys.
portion of the show. So
And Dan Anderson, you're not alone there. To Charles Barham, you guys, shed hunting is a must, and you're starting to feel trapped. Yep, it's that time of season. We're talking mid-February here.
got to get outside.
Yep.
Got to get out and do something. But I tell you what, we're going to wrap up the podcast portion here for the show this week, folks. Y'all take care. We'll be back again next week. And for those of you on the live stream, we got just a minute or two here. If you've got something real quick we can answer, go right ahead and throw it at us before we wrap up.
And you're right, though. Where else can you talk to? Basically, we're talking to Iowa, Michigan,
Wisconsin,
and David Boggs was on, so that was Indiana. And Tim was on, so that's
West Virginia, Tennessee.
Tennessee. It's technology is amazing.
It is. It's great stuff.
And how can you get instead of having a picture taken, going to developed, sent in the mail?
Yeah.
Here you got a little video right over the phone.
Put your trail cam out and get them on these and come back home and look at them on your laptop or phone right away. It's
Yep,
it's
exactly.
Pretty cool stuff. So. But I tell you what, folks, we're going to wrap up the live stream portion.
We got to go shoot.
We got to go shoot, and if you would share the link where this will be a finished post here in just probably 5 minutes or so, and we appreciate it. Share the good word about what we're trying to do here. Get your friends and family to come in and talk to us. And as you guys saw, had somebody from EZ Kut that just chimed in.
We'll get them on the show.
And they give you a 10% off deal right here just because you're watching. So get over there and get you some EZ Kut. So talk to Scott and check out the thread below. He's got all the information, and he said he'd even throw in a special gift for you guys. So y'all take care, and we will be back again next week. Same time, 4 o'clock next Sunday. Y'all take care.